on StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Michele Bellisari, and welcome to today's episode of Real Estate Reinvention. This is a podcast that I started quite a few years ago, and it's morphed into this name over the last couple of years. It used to be In the Hive with Michele B. And today we're going to have a lot of fun talking with Robin Gebhardt. She's a real estate agent that I met at Align 2023, our dear friend Karen Cooper's big event that she does every fall. And we were on a panel together. And
Yes.
so everything I love to do is talking about real estate niches, how you can niche down or niche up depending on what you're doing in your business, how you can add a layer to your business with a niche, and what's going to be something that works really well for you. So I've been based in Boca Raton, Florida for almost, I don't know, 45 years, 20 of that in real estate. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So welcome, Robin, and tell
Thank
everybody
you.
a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be doing this with you. I've, of course, followed you even before I met you at a Line conference. So this is a lot of fun, and I'm honored. I am from the Northern Virginia area. I was born in the Washington, D.C. area and then kept migrating out west. So I am in Loudoun County, which is basically where I am in Round Hill, Virginia. I'm about 50 miles west of D.C., which is still part of the commuting area for those that work in D.C., which is pretty insane. But this is where I've lived for almost 9 years in Loudoun County now.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so you know that area really well. And, one of the things that I loved about Robin, and we all shared our stories on how we got into niches and whatnot. Would you care to share a little bit of that backstory of how you got into the farming of neighborhoods? And then we're going to talk a little bit too about new construction today.
Sure, absolutely. So I had actually no intentions of moving this far out west. To me, it feels like another state because I am from the DC area. So when I got into real estate, my son was actually, I got into real estate when I was pregnant with my son. He's now 10. So we moved from a closer in city of Sterling, Virginia, out to Round Hill, and my son was little, and I found myself taking business wherever I could, wherever anybody called is where I was going to go. And that was definitely not realistic to my lifestyle with an infant and a toddler at that time. And so I was an independent agent with my last brokerage. And after a few years, I ended up meeting Karen Cooper and Vicki Newful with the Platinum Group. I am on their team. And I had just moved to Round Hill and I realized I need to work local. This is crazy. And so they coined the term Round Hill Robin, flows nicely. And so I decided to dive all in. Karen is big in her neighborhood, Vicki is big in her neighborhood. So I decided I'm all in. And it started with my previous career of restaurants and doing event planning. So I decided to host a really big neighborhood event called a meet and greet. And that's kind of how it started. I reached out to vendor partners like a Broker's Open, something similar, and said, "Would you partner with me? I just is where I want to work." And it took about 2 years of grind and postcard mailings and other things to kind of get that momentum going. But this is where I love to live and work. And so every
I
year I
love
added
it.
a new system on
So
top of that.
what would you say your percentages of listings versus buyers?
I, I, I would say I'm about 75-25. And a
Listings?
lot of those, yeah,
Yeah.
listings 25, and a lot of those, even half with the buy side, are sell by. So a lot
Yeah.
of the Round Hill people are looking to upsize or downsize, but stay in the
Yeah.
area.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because my message for several years when I went through the housing market crash of 2007, 8, whatever, was wow, I love working with buyers, but I think there's a better way, and segued into the listing side and some listing niches such as probate and seniors for me. Um, I think farming is fantastic. What do you feel are the top like three things that an agent who is considering farming should do before they actually even get out there? Like, what's the game, like pregame, like this, as of this recording, it's Super Bowl week, and I'm a football fan, if you don't know. So, What's the pre-game strategy that you
Sure.
use?
I love football and sports analogies, so this is awesome.
Perfect. Oh, wait, hold
First,
on. Hello, Miami Dolphins.
oh, I love it. I love it. We watched the documentary. It was great.
Love my Dolphins.
Um, I would first and foremost say, do you want to work where you live? Actually, some people don't want to work where they live and afraid of what their neighbors would say. What would you do if you failed and all that? So I think that's probably before you even dive in. And then secondly, I would say patience and time, just because so for me, it was a brand new neighborhood. And
Right.
so not everybody knows everybody. But if you are established in the neighborhood, that might be fine and you actually might have competition. But I always say, not everybody likes every other realtor, right? Your
No.
people will find you. And so those are the two things I would say, time and patience. It took me 2 years actually before I got my first listing, a year and a half.
Okay.
And it was a short sale. But then after that, it definitely took off. And I would
Okay,
say
so for those agents who may be watching, they don't even know what a short sale is. We're
sure.
talking like several years ago when we had to short the sale and
Right.
people were upside down in their homes. So just a little that
Yeah, no,
hopefully
that's good.
never see much of that again.
That's
Maybe here and there, but hopefully not.
yeah, totally not. Another thing I did was my son is young; he's in fifth grade. But since we've been here, he was in preschool, so I immersed myself in the community as much as I could, and also tolerate. I was never meant to be a school teacher, lol. So I come in, I help out, and I step out. So as my budget increased, I dove more in any type of community events that are happening. I sponsor the town event, the next town event. I'll do something for the PTO at my son's school. My name's on the back of the shirt. Like this year, they needed drinks for some event. I'm like, I got you. So being involved in your community is a necessity. I don't think you could be a hidden, a secret agent if you're trying to farm.
So personal branding really does come into play with this and getting
Absolutely.
known, which is
Yes.
so important. I think in this kind of market that we're in, this is the kind of thing that agents can start doing, and they could do it, I think, ramp up as quickly as they want to, but know that the timeline might be a little longer unless they double up maybe on what they're doing.
Yes. Absolutely. If they have the budget, they could definitely double up. And
Okay.
I look at actually social media as it's a free platform, as we know. But if your friends in your farm area are already friends with you, the more you can engage with their social media, then they'll see what you're doing. So it's actually
Yeah,
another touch, which is free. So absolutely.
I love
Love
that. Now, do you also like do pop-bys to your farms?
it. I
What kind
do.
do you like to do?
So I have done seeds for one. So in my proper neighborhood, there's 150 homes. If I expand, it's 350. It's not big, but
Okay.
it's enough.
Yeah.
So seeds. I've done pumpkin stickers for. I do a pumpkin carving contest. So another. If people could get into it, I'm the admin of the Facebook group for my neighborhood. I was not when I moved in, but I was very present, and she got overwhelmed, and so she asked if I would partner. I said absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so I do a pumpkin carving contest, and a week before that, I'll do little stickers so you can do jack-o'-lantern things like that. I passed out candy canes, something that's affordable, but it's a cute little touch. In the
Yeah.
past, I've done snow kits, snowman kits. So I would have 20 or 25, and I'd say, hey, there's snow expected this weekend. I've got 20 leftover kits for my business, for my clients who want to come stop by.
Yeah.
So I've done that as well.
So you farm your neighborhood. I like that 350 seems like a pretty manageable number.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a private Facebook group that's the community groups, right? What kind of
Yes.
things are you dropping into that group? Which luckily I had um, the benefit of interviewing Laura, who was also at the event talking about Facebook groups. How do you,
Mhm.
uh, keep your Facebook group engaged for your farms?
It's a really good question. I definitely wanted to tread lightly because I didn't create the page and I
Yeah,
didn't want to take over the page.
yeah,
But my purpose is to be the resource of the resource. So when anybody says my HVAC needs to be serviced or it's broken down, I'll send them a snapshot of maybe a postcard that we mailed out so that my info's on there. But I say, this is who
Yeah.
our team uses. So I do gentle touches like that. And then I actually just did a whole calendar for the year for them this year. It's the first time. But we have wineries around us, so I've scheduled wine tastings.
Oh,
So I
nice.
feel like they're gentle touches. Yeah. So there's wine tastings. We're doing more better. It's a restaurant. It's a German restaurant that does beers. So we're doing beers and burgers for our neighborhood. And then we're going to do Christmas light
Okay.
competition. So anyways, I did a calendar, so it's gentle. But I did start a community page outside of the neighborhood
Yeah.
where I'm a little more out there. But yes,
So
people love
with,
it.
with what you're doing, are you creating like some sort of funnel so that you can get the email addresses so you can also
Mhm.
build the email list and do
Yes.
your drips on them per se with an email
Yes.
letter on a regular
Yes.
basis? Talk to us a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a good question. So the events that I do, I tell people to click the link. So I do an invite because there's a lot of children in our neighborhood. So I need to do the head counts so that my vendor partners know how much to prepare for. Right.
Yeah.
So I do food trucks and then I do pop buys for all the kids. And so I say make sure you RSVP. So I have all of their names and through um, Evite, you can download the names on the spreadsheet. I don't know if a lot
Yeah.
of people know that you can do that. So then I have a check-in booth at my event. My biggest event that I capture emails is the meet and greet. So they have to come to the canopy, my home spot, and they grab a raffle ticket. So I give away things. So they have to come in with me to check in because I don't know everybody. So I'll highlight, oh, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And then I give them a ticket. So I meet them and then I have all of their emails and then put it in my database.
Oh, that's great. So
Yes. And
you've
that's been
been doing
working
this
great.
for a while. So your past client list must be feeding into your current business, which is great. It just, like
Yes.
you said, you plant the seeds and things will grow. You
Mm-hmm.
have to water them and nourish them and whatnot, and not pick a neighborhood that's so overwhelming. Like I've heard agents go, "Oh yeah, I've got this neighborhood," and it's like, I don't know. Like my neighborhood is like 524 homes. That's not a small neighborhood, but it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It's like, huh? Are you going to do it to everyone? Are you going to do it to a
Right.
certain number of homes? Maybe the people that live there the longest, because maybe they're the ones who are going to be more apt to want to sell. So I think, what
Mm-hmm.
are some tips for agents in finding the right community to farm if it's not necessarily their own neighborhood, or maybe they don't um, live in a community that they want to farm? Like some agents don't want to farm their neighborhoods.
Sure, sure. There are actually a lot of people in my area that ask that question often. Some neighborhoods, thousands of people and a huge development. And I
Yeah.
would recommend to them choose the other opposite end of the section because nobody knows your neighborhood better than you. So add the neighborhood at the other end of the zip code. So you're still familiar with what's going on because I feel like you're still the local expert
Oh, I love
and then you're
that.
just targeting the other area. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it works, and I think you don't have to have thousands because I
Yeah.
am repeat referral and farm, and they refer me to them, their families and friends, and that's the goal. It's been a magic number,
That's
an
fantastic.
attainable, affordable.
That's,
Mhm.
yeah, and I think that's part of it, especially in the kind of market that we've been in, where agents are being, they haven't done as much business. They're being cautious about how much they're spending on advertising, marketing, gifting. I love gifting my clients when they close and things like that, but some of the gifting, like, there's different thoughts and processes on gifting and how much
Yeah.
you should spend and not spend. We had a conversation in Clubhouse about it the other day, which was, how much are you spending on gifts? So that
Mhm.
maybe you stay top of mind. Are you doing it quarterly, or are you doing it, twice a year? Is it to just past clients? Is it to future potential clients? So it was a very interesting conversation. Um, so the
Sure, it
events
was. That would
that
have been
you do, you said that you also partner up with some of your vendor partners.
correct. Hmm.
I love
And
that.
it's
And
awesome. They come, bring their kids. It's a lot of fun.
do they help promote everything? as well?
No, no, it would
Okay,
be great
so
if they did.
the reason I'm asking is because we all have vendor partners, but we as realtors are pretty astute at social media. Vendor partners
Yes.
aren't typically. And so I've gotten like into the habit of saying, listen, I want to do this event. I want you to partner with me. Here's what I need you to do. You
Right.
know,
That's great advice. Yes.
you need
Well, I
to,
did. Yes, it's great advice.
yeah, because it helps them too. It's not just for the benefit of us, but
Absolutely.
they also sometimes just need like something written up. Hey, can you just post this on your
Hmm.
social media? You're not on Instagram because a lot of
Hmm.
the lenders are not on Instagram, but they are on
Yes.
Facebook. So, okay, I'll take Facebook and they're on LinkedIn. And it's just a manner, even though it's a very specific event, I think it's okay to say, by the way, I am partnering up with Round Hill Robin because we do a fantastic event in her neighborhood, blah, 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 whatever. Um, so that's the farming piece. Tell
Hmm.
us a little bit how you got into new construction and what you love about that niche.
Yeah, it's actually it's an amazing partnership that I have, and it wasn't purposeful. The gentleman, the salesperson that sold me my house was a builder.
Mm-hmm.
We became I wouldn't say we good acquaintances, and then he had another agent that he would refer to, and then he got too busy, and so basically how it started was in 2015, buyers would come in unrepresented or didn't have an agent to sell their home to buy the new home. So
Right.
he would contact me and say, would you go to this area or what have you? So then he was automatically one of my top refers. He's an A+ client. He gets everything, gets invited to every event. I give him actually special extra things because he refers me all the time. So not just to the people that come in the sales office, but his family. I think I've helped 6 of his family members.
Yeah.
And then he moved to another builder. And then I got an award through them through the partnership. And then I purposefully networked with his higher ups. So now the past couple of years I've been able to sell their spec homes. So if it's not selling, then I'll
Wow.
list it. It's a discounted rate, which is completely fine because I don't do anything once it's under contract because it's still builder
Yeah.
contract. And
Yeah.
so I've become their partner and referral partner for people that need to sell to buy their new construction. And that's been a blessing, a huge pillar.
Right. Wow. I know several agents who've done very well with new construction. And
Hmm.
because it allows a timeline. The interesting thing is, uh, with new construction, when you list that property, what kind of marketing does the builder typically allow you to do? Can you use all their professional photos? Could you bring in a drone and do like you would
Hmm.
with just a regular, it wasn't through the developer?
Well, as long as they're not watching this podcast, yes. No, I'm joking. They actually did basic bare minimum. So I just brought in my expertise and was like,
Yeah.
this is what I
Okay.
do. And they did a lot of camera photos because for a while, the past few years, they were selling pretty
Yeah.
fair, like
They're
recent
flipping.
stuff.
Yeah,
And then
for
it slowed
sure.
down. Yeah. And then I said, listen, you need professional photos, you need to open houses. And then what happened was I took the listing agreement. And I think also just being under a realtor's name versus a builder's name,
Yeah.
it refreshed it and that's what helped sell it. It wasn't just
Got
a
it.
sales rep, it was all the things
Yeah.
that we do. Yeah.
I hear you
And so
on
yes,
that.
I could do whatever I wanted.
That's, I
I mean,
think
I
that's
had to get their approval,
incredible.
but they were pretty.
I think that's great. So those are
It's
two
wonderful.
different
They're great.
niches that realtors, you guys can certainly do. I know many of you have heard about farming. Don't be afraid of doing new construction. I think one of the things that we see down here in South Florida is a lot of realtors go to the new developments. They do walkthrough videos and things like that. It's a way to get started. Just with
Sure.
this, you don't need anything more than your, phone. You don't have to get
Yep.
fancy, right? But the farming piece, I love that because I feel that that is so long term. And once you establish
It really is.
yourself, you're established and you can come up with different ideas and events throughout the year. I know agents that have done shredding events in their neighborhood, especially
Yeah.
after tax season. My neighborhood, we kind of have a loosey goosey HOA. Like it's a non like mandatory HOA, but they always do a little party like in the spring or summer,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Right.
cool.
That's fun. Yeah.
There's lots of agents in my neighborhood. I know most of them.
That's great. Keep your enemies closer. Just kidding. That's good. I have
We've
several
all
here
known
too.
each other for a long time. We either went to school together or our kids did. So I
That's so
think,
great.
that's one of the things. But what other tips can you share with us before we end this interview? Anything
I would
that
say that
you
if you're
feel like any things to avoid or anything that you maybe did and you're like, oh, I wouldn't do that again, but I would do this again.
I would say pursuing going back to the new construction and pursuing those relationships,
Yeah.
you have to remember what I think recognizing what those salespeople go through on the regular is actually more rejection than we ever could get. It is a very tough job that they do. And they're not the final say, it's the people above them. So if you
Okay.
actually want to, so before real estate, I managed high-end restaurants and we did concierge visits because we wanted to be the restaurant that the high-end hotels would refer us to. So you have to spend that time, go on a coffee date, bring them some snacks, and then build a relationship with them. You can't just
Right.
expect them. They don't know you. Why would they refer you if they don't even know you? And I think that's the case for anything actually in business, but specifically in new construction. They have a hard job.
I
Their
agree.
demands
I
are
agree. That's a really
and
good
they're there.
tip.
Mm-hmm.
I was in pharmaceutical sales before I got into real estate. And so it's like getting to know that gatekeeper and then
Yes.
leveling up, and not always expecting something right away, but
Right.
doing something in return or doing a favor. And like you said, be the resource to the resource, right? Is,
Yes.
I think, so important. Robin, do you do a vision board?
I do. I do
Do
a
you do
vision
it
board,
in
and
Notion or
actually,
Canva? How do you do yours?
well, I have a 10-year-old and he's been doing it with me the past 3 years with my husband. So the last 3 years, actually, we all do our own vision boards together with construction paper and magazines.
I love
And it's
it.
been an awesome
Yeah, it
I
works.
have done Canva. It works. So in my office, on the wall behind my laptop is my transaction board, and then my vision board is below it. So I see it, I see him, and my son's is in his bathroom mirror, and my husband's is on his side of the mirror. So
Oh,
we
I
all do it
love it.
together.
There you go.
Yes.
The goal
Yeah,
setting.
that
So,
manifestation works.
yeah. So you guys make sure you're putting together. It doesn't matter that, when you start a vision board, doesn't matter.
Right.
But I agree with
Yes.
you. Mine is half done and I'm going to finish it this week. And,
Awesome.
it's just, again, like putting it out to the universe, manifesting what you want. We had a conversation again today in Clubhouse talking about not comparing yourself to other agents, but staying in your lane, doing what you can do. It doesn't matter how many properties other agents are selling. It's how much you want to sell, what's going to work for you, and what's going to be healthy, because some of this is not healthy what happens, and the stress of this industry is tough, right? And so
Yes.
this is why, I'm bringing the idea of, there are riches and niches, but it's not about the riches. It's just, to me, about running your business in a manner where you can continue doing what you're doing, but adding some pillars where you can be the specialist and the go-to and get known for what you're really, really good at. And you're really, really good
I
at
love it.
farming and new construction.
I enjoy it, and you're spot on, and your clubhouse talk sounds amazing.
Oh,
Because
you're
you're right, it's
welcome.
hard not to.
Anytime. We're the OGs of Clubhouse. It's a big group of
Oh,
us.
that's so
And
cool.
we were out in so let's see, in August we all went to Tom Ferry. I'm not a Tom Ferry, I'm not being coached by Tom Ferry, but many of us went out there. There's like 35 or 40 of us for a happy hour and dinner.
That's,
Yeah, we all met
that's
on
so cool.
Clubhouse. Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's a nice group.
See,
And
that's
our
awesome.
rooms are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. from 7 to 8, and then 8 to 9. There's a second one, and we mastermind a lot in there. And that's where, like, I'm getting back doing my interviews for the Real Estate Reinvention podcast, and bringing people like yourself on who are knowledgeable, who've been through some different markets, who can inspire other agents with their story. And the last thing I'm going to ask you is, because I used to do this, and so I'm going to do this now, is if you could break bread with anyone famous, dead or alive, who would it be? What would the meal be, and why?
I love that. So I'm going to do a live. I would love to break bread with Sharon Shavata and have just 30 minutes with him in my time in life right now. I think he's very brilliant and unattainable a little bit. And I think it would be just
I
cool to.
love it. If for those of you that don't know, well, Robin and I are both with Real Broker. Sharon Travaza is
Yes.
the president of Real, and he is truly one of the brightest humans I've ever encountered with in business and really in person. He's very kind, so smart. And I think that's the perfect answer. This was not a setup, by the way.
No, it wasn't. I was like, where am I going to go? I was like,
That's
man, if I could have
funny.
Sharon for 30 minutes.
That's fantastic. So we'll have to ping Sharon in this. Well, what would you want to order? Like, what kind of food, and what would be something you would ask Sharon?
Oh, I would ask him. That's a great. I like appetizers and tapas, so I'd do something light in a casual environment. And I would ask him what I should do to prepare myself for the next 10 years of my real estate for my family. What is his best recommendation that I should be doing for my business and my family? I think that would be.
Love it. Well, let's find out.
Yeah. Hey, Sharon.
We will find out. We will find out. Robin, where can everybody find you to follow you?
Awesome. Thank you. I am on Instagram, and it's Robin_Gebhardt_realtor on Instagram. And then on Facebook, it's Robin Gebhardt, Robin Bear Gebhardt on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today. And if you guys have any questions and you're watching the recording, feel free to drop them in. We'll be checking them. I'm kind of solo today. I don't have anybody helping me. If you asked any questions on Facebook or on YouTube, we'll get to those questions. Feel free to follow me at the Michele B on Instagram, and here on my Real Estate Reinvention YouTube. And I do have a Facebook group, Reinvent Her. So if you're interested in joining that, you can find that on Facebook. Thanks again, Robin, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.